there, tubers, and hello there, rumblers. Some of you are wondering, what am I doing today on July 30th, 2021, Friday? Today, I am just doing a scheduled oil change on my 2019 Hyundai Sonata-SE, but not just any old oil change. I am putting in Amsoil 100% synthetic motor oil, Signature Series, but I'm not just going to do a drain and fill. I'm going to run the Amsoil flush first. And I know some questions are going to pop up about flushes. I'm going to explain everything for today. And yes, while they do make Amsoil filters, me in particular, I'm just going to go with a stock Kia Hyundai filter for now. And I'll explain that in a moment too. Where we stand right now, the car has exactly 60,000 miles on it. And this is why I want to use even better oil for the car. Yes, I bought this car late December 2019. So this car is a little over 19 months old, and I already have this amount of miles on it. Now, you see my other videos of this car, so you know I take good care of my cars. I don't abuse them, but I ask a lot out of them, as you can see here. And it's because of that, I want to make sure I'm really protecting my car here, because you've seen my other videos about this car, how I wasn't really planning on buying this car. Didn't really want to buy this car, but I had to. So now that I have it, I want to make damn good sure I have this for many, many years. Now, I've always been using synthetic oil from the start. Now, on my particular car, it does call for 520, but according to the owner's manual, you can put 5W30. So I both used full synthetic oil from the start and used the thickest allowable. But now I'm going to 100% synthetic. And here's the difference. And I learned this all, by the way, from Synthetic Oil Protection. Great YouTube channel run by Eben Rockmaker. I'll leave a link in the description. And when I created an account and bought a preferred membership on Amsoil.com, yes, I got this directly from Amsoil.com, I got some text. I actually heard from the Eben Rockmaker. Really cool guy, and can't wait for him to see this video once I get it here on the tube and on Rumble. So anyhow, the thing you need to know is, legally speaking, for an oil to say full synthetic, it technically only has to have 25% synthetic base. That's why you have varying qualities of varying different synthetic oils, what have you, between different brands. But this one is 100% synthetic. And he explains this too in one of his videos. I'll leave a link to the description in that video because he just does a better job of explaining it than I will. He uses like beads and marbles and rocks. Really cool. Check it out. Check it out. So that's the next step. I'm making in all of this. Going to see how this goes. But first, we're going to pour in the flush. And I know some people might have some concerns about that, so let me explain. Not all flushes are created equal. Some are detergent and petroleum based. Some are solvent based. Now the really cheap ones, especially the ones that you might encounter at like your corporate chain lube shops, don't want to mention any names for obvious reasons, they're going to use the more dangerous solvent based ones, and that's why people's engines lock up shortly thereafter. Also, it depends on how much sludge you have to begin with. If your engine's been severely neglected and or you've been using really low end oil and you have severe engine sludge buildup like what you're about to see in the pictures you're about to see, if the sludge buildup is what you saw in those pictures, then I wouldn't be using any flush. But this particular flush here, it's not solvent based, it's all petroleum and detergent based. And it's okay to use these types of flushes if you've been regularly maintaining your engine and you use them as a as a regular maintenance program. Now I normally take my car to the dealer and I bring my own oil. Been using Pennzoil Ultra for a long time. Or actually no, Pennzoil Platinum, I'm sorry. Yeah, look at that. I got it right here. This is what I've been using all the while. Not a bad oil. Certainly better than Mobile One and a few others, but I really wanted to up the antes here. And that's why I bought this here, Amsoil. And when I take it to the dealer and do their regular 6K services, they call it, they pour the BG109, which is like a flush. So just remove a little stiction that might end up on the ring lands and certain crevices. It's okay to use a flush then, but like I said, if it's been severely neglected, I wouldn't do any kind of flush at all. But the trick is to just never let it get to that point in the first place. And that's what I've been doing. And again, I'm going to take this a step further. So, first thing is first, let's pour the flush into the motor. Alright, so we're going to pour in the flush. Now this car's been sitting overnight, so the engine's actually nice and cold. And the way it works is this flush is actually activated by heat. So I want to initially start the engine up and give it a chance to warm up, so by the time it does get warmed up, this flush is thoroughly mixed in with the oil. And because I have all the time in the world, once it reaches operating temperature, then we'll let it idle for a half hour, maybe 45 minutes. It all depends. I'll share how I'm going to do that in a moment. So there we go. I poured it into a cold engine. There we go. Take the funnel out. Put the cap back on. And the one thing I want to explain, just so I kick the engine over. Yes, once I'm done doing the flushing procedure, I am going to make sure that I can very quickly drain it right out. So I already hooked out all the screws, turned the pan, what have you. So I can very quickly do that. So next I shall step into and kick over the Hyundai Sonata-SE. Yes, I have an actual key. And listen to that engine sound too. Yeah, you hear that? Maybe it'll change once it gets flushed out and has Amsoil put in it. But I know the Toyotas had that problem too. Very noisy cam phasers. Alright, but for like the first 2 minutes or so, I want to hold it at like 1500 RPMs so the oil can really splash around and heat up a little bit quicker. And the way I'm going to do that, this is what you can use to hold the accelerator down. Of course, it'll help I held it right side up and not be a dingling here. Now this is made by Thexton. There's a little zoom out of the tool right here. Okay, which pretty much looks like the ass end of a caulking gun, but meant to go around the steering wheel. Now, I could not find this on Amazon. However, Thexton has their own official website, and you can buy directly from their website. And I'll leave a link in the description to this tool here. So that's what I'll do. What you can do, hook this around, you push this lever in, hook this around the steering wheel, like so. I don't know how the camera's going to pick it up in these low lighting situations. You see as I squeeze it, it pushes the rod down. Okay, so we are at 1500 RPMs. Just for good measures, I'm also going to turn the heat on. To take some of the heat away. Oh, look at that. I bumped into the steering wheel, turned the steering wheel a little bit. And now, this can be a bit frustrating. I'm not going to lie. Alright, and I'm doing that just to prevent any potential overheating, but I will stay on top of this. So, I'm going to do this until it reaches operating temperature. Still holding it at 1500 RPMs, but at operating temperature now with the flush in there. I'm noticing the rattling has been cut down quite a good deal. Now understand that on these Hyundai Theta engines, that could be the injectors you're hearing. They do have very noisy injectors. So let me take the pedal depressor out and let's see how it sounds at idle. Yeah, I am seeing a difference already, but I'm going to continue to just run it at idle now for another 45 minutes, possibly an hour. I don't know, but as long as it's not putting the engine under any kind of load, you should be okay. So as I pointed out in the video, I said I was going to go with the stock Kia Hyundai filter and not Amsoil's filter. Now, Amsoil makes good filter. They're equally as good as the Royal Purple filters, if not better. But here's the thing. Right now, I am still under warranty. And if anything, and I mean anything, happens to that engine because of the filter, it's just one less step that has to be taken because this is Hyundai's filter. So it's mainly for warranty purposes to protect my warranty. Now, once I'm outside of warranty, you're darn tootin', I'll start using the Amsoil's filters. And easier to get when you can just order them because I did buy the preferred membership from Amsoil.com. And you actually get a bit of a discount on it, and you can get it actually at a better price than the Royal Purple or Mobile One filters. So that's my explanation for that. And to those of you out there who are getting just an OE filter for that same exact reason, I wouldn't advise buying them online. I buy them from an authorized bricks and mortar dealership. In the case of me, I went to Healy Hyundai. Keep the sales receipt for that filter, so again, if anything ever happens because of the filter, you have proof that it was their filter and you bought it from them. So that's my explanation for that. That'll be why I use a stock Kia Hyundai filter on my brother's Elantra if I can get him to go on Amsoil. It'll be the same story too for my mother's Subaru. When I put her Subaru on Amsoil, it's still under warranty, so I'm just going to be using a stock Subaru oil filter. But again, like my Hyundai, once it gets out of warranty, then I am going to use the Amsoil filters from there on out. So that's my explanation for this. And if you can see here, I also like to put the mileage and the date, especially when I do the oil changes myself. Now, on my particular car, I have the dealership do all my oil changes. I give them the oil to use, and I use their filter, and I let them use the BG program. This oil change is actually only the second oil change I have done myself. And that's because I was very particular about how I wanted the Amsoil put in. But I do have another round of Amsoil that I'm going to give to the dealership to use when I have the next oil change done for this car. And the one other thing I want to add in terms of why I used a stock Kia Hyundai oil filter is it's not that I have anything against Amsoil's oil filters, and no, it's not that I don't think they will stand behind their product if, let's say, their filter were to do something to the engine. It's just that if something were to go wrong, I have to go to Amsoil first, wait on them, who knows how long that would take, then they have to deal with Hyundai. It's just to avoid extra steps if something went amok. You know, I'm thinking in terms of worst case scenario. That's why I would just rather have it all done under one person. Because even just under one person, everything goes the speed of smell now because we have shortages of everything now, and everyone's still using COVID as an excuse, so it's a cluster. Obviously, I'm not going to use the whole word to keep this thing G-rated here. It's a cluster. So that's why I'm going with OE filters when the car is under warranty for now. And then once it's outside of warranty, I will be going to the Amsoil filter. Okay, so I'm ready to drain the oil. I ended up running it for about 45 minutes, give or take. I actually already changed the filter. That's always been my MO. I like to change the filter first, so I dropped the filter, let any remnants drain out. This gives the oil some time to drain all down into the pan, you know, the few minutes all of that takes. So that's my other reason for doing that, especially when you're in a flush like I did just now. So, getting this sucker off, my 2.4 liter equipped Hyundai Sonata-SE takes a 17mm socket on the drain plug, which I am loosening it with as I babble about here. Alright, let's see what drains out of here. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick up, and I did the filter off camera because it's tucked up in there. You weren't going to see it, and even if you did, I wasn't going to risk getting oil on this camera because this camera's already unhappy as it is, so I am not going to risk getting any oil on the camera. Oh, look at that drain. Alrighty, we'll check that out. Yeah, very liquidy indeed. See, like a brownish color. See, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's the old filter in here. So that's why I did what I did. And it's not much really to see, just oil draining out. And what I should have done, always make a habit of doing this, take the oil cap off on the top. That tends to be very debatable. Some say the oil drain quicker because it's like opening the vent. That's debatable, really. That's really depends on the motor. But yes, always make that a habit too. Look at that drain. I want to make sure this is positioned so I can put it in a position where I know I can have it, for several hours, maybe an overnight. Like I said, it depends how quickly this engine cools back down and how thoroughly it's drained. So, might going in tomorrow, Saturday, maybe not. I don't know yet. But it's down to a dribble right now. And it can stay like this for several minutes, actually. Like I said, I would never be this crazy, but only because it's the initial installation, and I really wanted to make sure I liquefied and drain out all the old crap. Okay, time to pour in the liquid gold, as Mr. Rockmaker would say. Do the. Hopefully I did that right. Sorry if I didn't. Okay, so let's pour it in. Funnel's nice and tight now. Putting the drain plug back in, the splash shield, all that stuff. I already did that off camera. And yes, these bottles have a aluminum safety seal, which I also took off camera. So as I'm pouring this oil in here, one thing I want to clarify, and I should have better clarified it all much earlier on in the video, the whole thing where you have to wait for the engine to cool before you put the flush in, let it drain overnight till it's cool again. Look, you don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. I'm not even sure if I made a difference doing it the way I did it. This is a personal preference thing, because I'm a little bit on the neurotic side here. So it's very possible I made no difference taking as long as it did. Look, not everyone can afford the downtime that I can. So, and also I don't want people thinking that it's going to be this tedious and time consuming. No, you don't have to do it the way I did it if you don't want to. Now I pour in the final quart. Now, worth noting with Amsoil, they do not sell 5 quarts, or at least the viscosities I've bought so far. I've never seen a 5 quart. So that bottle you saw me pour just now was a 4 quart or 1 gallon. So in the case of my Hyundai Sonata here, that takes 5 quarts. You're going to buy 1 gallon and a quart. So do be wary of that. Again, I don't know of any ones that are a 5 quart. They're just 1 gallon or 4 quarts. So there we go on that. Okay, let's get her started up, see how she sounds. Yeah, it does sound different for sure. Not as rattly as before. Those are definitely the fuel injectors you're hearing. So, already that's off to a better sound. The engine already just sounds happier. So the engine warmed up now. Took it off the ramps. Did all the other whatever off camera. Here it is. Sounds a lot nicer, a lot quieter. Yeah, you're always going to get a little bit of a vibration with inline 4 cylinders. This one in particular doesn't have balancing shafts, so nothing out of the normal here. I mean, I only backed it out of the garage. I felt some kind of difference in smoothness, so I wanted to come inside the car. See if we feel a difference here. Okay, I know there's going to be a lot of glare in the windshield, but I just want to take this car for a spin here. And wow, this already feels much smoother here. Feels quieter and smoother. Yeah, this is a much happier engine for sure. A lot less NVH. Like I said, you're just going to get a little bit because of the inherent nature of inline 4s, especially as the displacement gets bigger and the bores get bigger. Especially in the case of my 2.4, but I mean, this feels much smoother than before. And you see I'm going up my road here. It's definitely a hill, so this is a good way to put it to the test. Put it under a bit of a load here. Alright, let's climb up another hill. Oh, this feels great. A lot smoother. This is definitely feeling much smoother. And when we go past that time. Alright. Oh wow. Doing 50, not even feeling that. Yeah, definitely gotta watch myself here. I mean, I know there's not much of anything in these back roads, but still, you don't want to pick up too much speed. You want to be careful back here. Alright, let's see. Do the old swing around. Okay. Well, I gotta say, this was definitely a worthwhile thing. I mean, I know I have to do more testing, but I mean, if I'm seeing that big a difference, something this short, then what am I gonna see in the long haul? And unfortunately, I just don't have the means to properly secure the camera inside the car and do an in-car camera drive. I'll probably just make that its own video. But hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully it was informative and very helpful. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there. And don't be a stranger.